So this section is about storytelling and how you can harness the power of the language and the words that are available to you to tell better stories, using better structure and really embodying it and feeling through it so that that story has an impact on your audience, so that you can convert them to bring them into the story, change their mind, persuade them, whether you're using rhetorical devices, whether you're telling stories to engage, and the actions and intentions that you use to be able to do this. So the first part of advancing your reading skills and your speaking skills and developing your language, deepening the lexicon, allowing you to have better structured and flowing stories, is to go from the very beginning of where we started to hear stories. And that was when we were children, when we used to get told bedtime stories, or we were at school learning how to read. So when we go back to this, it allows us to uncover language that is at age 4 to 5 reading level, which is better for us to digest and play with. There's no heavy word use that we don't have to go and Google something to find out what it is. It's very basic, but it really allows you to dial in on how you tell the story rather than what the actual words are. So for example, you have to put action behind this and play it out when you speak this. So in the downloadable link below, you have the first story, which is Leo and the Brave Little Roar. And this is age 4 reading level. Now, bear with me on this because this might seem like something that you don't know why you're doing it, but if you go through it, I want you to read the story and I want you to bring yourself into it and act it out. So don't just sit down and do it. I want you to do it where you stand up in your room or wherever you are and start to tell the story. So we're going to go through energy levels with this. So if we start at about a 5, one sunny morning, Leo the lion cub stood at the edge of the forest. The trees whispered, the wind tickled, his heart thumped like jungle drums. So that's the first sentence. Now you'll probably notice that that wasn't animated and that it was very basic. It was read well, it was understood, it was clear. You didn't like forget what I was saying, but you didn't feel anything. And I was about a 4 or a 5 there. I didn't feel anything when I was doing this. I was just trying to make it sound nice for you. So adding a level of perfection, which is not good for when you want to play. And the best thing about learning this is about learning how to play with it. So I'm going to go up again. I'm going to change the energy level of it. I'm going to dial it up maybe 2 rungs, bring it to a 6 or a 7 and see how that goes. Leo and the Brave Little Roar. One sunny morning, Leo the lion cub stood at the edge of the forest. The trees whispered. The wind tickled. His heart thumped like jungle drums. Bum, 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 bum. Leo wanted to roar, a big, bold roar. But his voice felt small, like a mouse squeaking, hiding in a cave. I can't do it, he whispered. So that's about a 6 or a 7. I brought some animation into it. I brought some acting into it. I've started to embody it and feel through the story. Now, take a pause, read it through the first time at your level 3 or 4, bring it up to a 6 or a 7, and then restart the video and we'll go into a 10. And the reason for doing this is if we know what our 10 is when we speak, then we'll know where we sit in the middle. And we get to choose depending on what or who we're speaking to. So the more we know what our energy is capable of and what we are able to do with our voice and how we tell our story, we can change and make a conscious choice of how we deliver that story. Okay, this is a 10. One sunny morning, Leo the lion cub stood at the edge of the forest. The trees whispered. The wind tickled. His heart thumped like the jungle drums. Leo wanted to roar, a big bold roar, but his voice felt small, like a mouse squeaking, hiding in a cave. I can't do it, he whispered. So play around with that. go into a 10, bring as much of it in as you can, and bring it up. When you feel like you're being too big or there's a cringe factor, that's where you break through. That is where you get the courage to go boom straight through, bring your voice into it and play with it. And stop worrying about how you look and how you feel, and start thinking about your audience. And as this is age 4 reading level, I want you to tell it to people as if they are 4 years old. Imagine that your audience are 4-year-olds and you're delivering this to a group of 4-year-olds. They have an attention span very small. So to be able to engage 4-year-olds, you have to be engaging, you have to be charismatic, you have to really embody it and feel it and grab their attention with all of the senses that are available to you, through sound, through movement, and bring it to life. Really taste those words, really feel through it, really see the imagery that you're talking about. If there's a tree, be the tree. If there's a lion, be the lion. And you can read through this as multiple times you can. What we don't want to fall into is going, one sunny morning, Leo the lion cub stood at the edge of the forest, the trees whispered. Do not put the script in front of your face. Have it down here. The point of this as well is to sight read and get our skills up to scratch so that we never have to keep going like this. We can look down and go, one sunny morning, Leo the lion cub stood at the edge of the forest. The trees whispered. And now you've got a 10, you've got a 7, you've got a 5, you've got a 3 and a 4. You can play around with this. Intensity, volume, action, intention, who you're speaking to. You can play around with it. And always keep your script about here so that you can just look down and then bring it back up to who you're speaking to. That's section 1, age 4 reading level. We're going into advanced reading level, but first of all I want you to get used to the first level of reading, age 4, and then we can move into something with a bit more vocabulary that is above average, above basic. So this is advanced reading level, the threshold of sound. Dawn broke with a hush, gilding the canopy in amber light as the jungle exhaled its slow, ancient breath. Leo stood alone at the forest's edge, young yet weathered by the silent weight of a voice never fully used. He had long yearned to roar, not merely in the way lions are expected to, but with brute force and inherited bravado, but with depth, with meaning, with the trembling authenticity of a sound that emerges from the soul rather than the throat. Yet time again, he hesitated. Fear had fashioned itself into a cage. Okay, so there are a few mistakes I did there that I'll point out to you. I did spend too much time looking down, but I haven't read this before, so this is the first time I've done this. I wanted to follow my impulses to move and deliver it. And just because this is a more advanced reading level, that doesn't mean we have to deliver it in a super highbrow way. We can still bring the element of play that we had with the other language that we used in the age 4 reading level. With this, you can still play around with it. And you can also do age 4 reading level in a serious way. So let's try the threshold of sound advanced reading level with a bit more playfulness, with a bit more action, with a bit more movement and embodiment. Dawn broke with a hush, gilding the canopy in amber light as the jungle exhaled its slow, ancient breath. Leo stood alone on the forest's edge, young, yet weathered by the silent weight of a voice never fully used. He had long yearned to roar, not merely in the way that lions are expected to, with brute force and inherited bravado, but with depth, with meaning, with the trembling authenticity of a sound that emerges from the soul, not from the throat. Yet time again, he hesitated. Fear had fashioned itself into a cage. Okay, so that is advanced reading level. Obviously, the words here are a bit more above basic, and it's going to be a bit more difficult to imagine that you're delivering this to 4-year-olds, but that's where your embodiment and the storytelling technique comes in. And story technique comes in from being able to embody it to the point of a 10, where you're literally acting it out. And once you have that meaning to those words that you've developed and rehearsed it and read through it multiple times, whatever script that you're doing, whether it's this or you're doing a YouTube video or an Instagram video, you can bring that back into yourself, and now meaning and trembling. You can use your voice. You have all of the components available in your voice to be able to deliver something with intensity and action without actually having to act it out. The acting out is embodying it, so it's within you, and then you can dial it back down to a 5, 6, 7 where it's more digestible to the audience and it's not too big. It's just about right so that it lands, and it's not a clown performance, but it's also not a musical theatre stage huge performance. It's something that is deliverable. But this all depends on your motivation, action, and intentions of what the story is about, who it's to. Third section is I've got a Hormozi style speech that you can deliver to IG Reels or YouTube. Now, this is where we use the application of storytelling using the different techniques we've learned from doing age 4 to advanced to a motivational script. It's still a story, it's still a delivery, and you can still play with it. And it's how you use those intentions and those actions to deliver this. So let's give this a go. Listen, there's a lion in you, and it's tired of waiting. Waiting for perfect, waiting to feel ready. Waiting for someone to approve their power. And here's the truth. You're not here to be polite with your potential. You're here to roar. Loud, raw, unapologetic. But most people, they're standing on the edge of their life, afraid of their own voice. Okay, so what's going on here? So the structure of this is very motivational. If you were to action this, it would be hammering it, punching it, and I'm overdoing it. I'm going all Tony Robbins style with this. But you can be like, listen, there's a lion in you, and it's tired of waiting for you to be perfect. So you can literally be so nonchalant with the delivery of it, you can be like, fuck it, like, if this helps you. If it doesn't, well then you don't have to watch. And that's very Hormozi. He's like, he gives you what you want, but he doesn't sugarcoat. He's like, well look, there's a lion in you, and it's tired of waiting, and for you to be perfect, stop being perfect. Simple. And you don't have to stick to this, because this is motivational. This is going to bring up emotion when you speak through it. You can add in your ad-libs, you can bring in what you want to it, and just be aware that you can get stuck in one level of energy when you're trying to be motivational. So you have to paint the picture that goes up here and bring it back down here, and then bring it back in. So these structures of storytelling, there's a rhythm and a cadence to delivering these kind of scripts. You don't want to be on one monotonous tone the whole way through. You want to be able to play up here, and then you want volume, and then you want to bring it back down, and then you want words to have meaning. And then you can play around with how you deliver this with your connection to breath that we've done in the previous exercises, and how you deliver that story is really basically truthful to you. It's very unique to you. There are 3 stories here and a script that every single person that does it will do something completely different. So you don't have to try and be like anyone else. All you have to do is find your truth in the story that you're telling, whether it's your own story or you're telling a story about someone else. And you have to have a structure, beginning, middle, and end. Take people on a journey. Imagine that you're uncovering this for the first time. And this goes for TED Talks, this goes for speaking on stages, this goes for delivering a YouTube video from 5 minutes to half an hour to an hour. It comes down to how you capture your audience, how you encapsulate them, how you get them listening to you, how you're going to bring them in, how you're going to play with your tone to bring them into the story. And you can use these 3 scripts and stories to help you with that, with your sight reading and with your storytelling technique. And they're written directly for you to be able to do that and play around with the rhythm. So get them on their feet, practice them, Practice your sight reading, and once you've done this, you can start applying this to any other reading material that you can get your hands on. By the end of your practicing, you should be able to make a menu sound as if it's an epic tale.